happening, y'all? All right. Mic check 1 2. Mic check. All right, y'all. You ready to get started? Just giving everybody a little second to log in, since we're gonna be live streaming this as well. You know, I'd like to welcome y'all to UpcloseLife podcast. All right, here we go. This one here is the This or That episode. I'm gonna play a little snippet of a song for y'all because I want y'all to kind of know what this here is about. How many of y'all know this song? All right, I won't get all crazy with it or whatever else, but this here is the song "The Choice Is Yours." Seminal hit from Black Sheep. That was kind of their big hit. They had a couple other ones real hip hop fans know, or just people who, were into music early 90s. This was the song. All right, right now, still to this day, you can play this here and everybody still got to do the same old little stuff and just have a little good time with it. But anyway, we're going to get into some topics today that have to deal with choice, all right? Because the choice is yours, all right? So you can get with this or you can get with that. All right. So first off, I do want to tell everybody Happy Thanksgiving. I know Thanksgiving is coming up. It means it's a time to go out here. We start talking about the yams and who's mashed. I mean, who got this, who's got that. You got turkey versus ham, which, by the way, kind of if the turkey ain't fried or ain't done a certain kind of way, if it's not just moist and juicy. I'm a ham guy. I prefer my turkey the next day, you know what I'm saying? Put it in some sandwiches with tomato, all that kind of stuff. But that's neither here nor there. All right, so. But let's get started. All right, you guys ready? All right, y'all. Welcome again. Like I said, to the Up Close podcast. We're going to get started. Today's episode is going to be about The Choice Is Yours. All right? The choice is yours. Like I said, it was a song by Black Sheep. All right? The song was a jam. All right? It just was. All right? You know this song. You can get with this. You can get with that. All right? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is so we can get into these topics today. So you can get with this. You can get with that. And we're going to talk about a little bit about hypocrisy and some of the other things that may kind of go along with it, with as far as having the choice being yours. Happy Thanksgiving to y'all. I know it's going to be an early time. A lot of y'all are going to be off and out traveling, having a good time. But remember this here. The choice is yours. We don't have to be a glutton of food. I'm not saying don't go out and enjoy yourself, have a good time. And I'm definitely not trying to preach to y'all or anything else. But let's just remember, the holiday is about the family and stuff. Don't make it solely only about the food. Because what happens is we start to make the food be the focal point of the enjoyment and not the people. That's not how it really works. But the choice is yours. You're a grown person. If you want to go everybody and argue over who auntie make the worst potato salad and, all the other kind of stuff. Now, in keeping with our theme of choice is yours, hey, if you don't know by now, we eat dressing. There's turkey dressing. There's all kind of giblet dressing. There's all kinds of dressings. I don't do stuffing. All right? Stuffing is something else. Too dry and bread and all that kind of stuff. No, you want dressing. There's rice dressing. There's all kinds of stuff. You can mix a little bit of your cranberry sauce in it to make it whatever. But again, there's some people who like stuffing. Some people like dressing. It could be a little cultural. Don't. It's whatever. So when you're traveling around, though, the choice is yours, and choose to try some other different things. We know whatchamacallit, your Aunt Pam with the auntie arms don't know how to, makes the best macaroni and cheese. That don't mean you got to crap on everybody else's macaroni and cheese. If they had to use a box, maybe that's all they could do. Now, you're supposed to chastise them for using a box. We don't do box mac and cheese. That's just not supposed to happen. And if mac and cheese didn't go in the oven, it's really something wrong. But I digress. Now, let's dive on into some of this stuff here. But I will say this here. We need to make sure we make a choice because the new year is going to be coming up. And I'll be doing an episode in the future about, health and how health is your wealth and all the other stuff like that. That's going to come. But you got to remember, our food is to sustain us. Yes, we're supposed to have some enjoyment with it, have a good, eat good food. I'm not saying you got to sit out here and be walking out and grazing eating grass and tree limbs and stuff. But remember, your life shouldn't revolve around the food. And I love food. This is coming from somebody who loves food. But I've been on my health kick. You know, I had to get off the dairy. Realize dairy does my body horribly wrong. Just from being a week off of dairy completely, I've already lost 4 pounds. All right, just dairy. That means all dairy. That doesn't mean, oh, all right, well, I can eat some dairy. You know, oh, I'm not drinking milk, but I'm still eating cheese. That's still dairy. That doesn't mean that, oh, I can't eat no hamburger without no. Yes, you can. You can do whatever it is you want to do, especially if you've never tried it or never had. There's other things out there. And it's been working for me, and I think it'll work for you. And I think for a lot of us, a lot of the issues we have, I mean, I sleep better at night. A lot of things goes on. My skin is clearing up a little bit. Yes, I know I need to shave and stuff. You know, I'm growing all this out, but I need to kind of line it up and everything else. That's going to get done. But anyways, what happens next is I've cut out the meats. I've been eating better. And my body has been reacting. And it was almost instant. Don't get me wrong now. It's a little weird the first couple of days because you're like, damn, well, I got to find something. Like, because you're so used to, all right, I feel like this. I want that. When I go to this place, I go get pizza. When I go to this place, I go get a burger with everything on it. When I go to I'll tell you something I did. All right. So at my job, you know, they call me the black vegan. I'm not a vegan. I'm not going to be a vegan. I eat everything else, just no dairy. No red meat, no pork, but and very little chicken. And I try to eat clean. If it's not organic and all of that kind of stuff, I try to eat clean. So they want to go to Red Robin. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the veggie burger. You know, most veggie burgers, people are always scared of them because they used to be all dry and they look like a small dog turd and stuff like that, flattened out. They're not like that anymore. Very, very good. So I got the veggie burger. And I loaded up with, like I'm talking about, I put mushrooms on it. I had egg on it. I had everything, just no cheese, no extra spinach, all kinds of stuff on it. That burger was awesome. And the first thing I noticed is, as opposed to what I would normally get going to a burger spot, is after I finished eating, I got energy. I didn't want to go to sleep. Like there was no, I got that itis, trying to undo my pants and everything. I didn't get none of that. I didn't get any of that. And I was like, that's your body telling you, because when you eat, you're supposed to get energy. You're putting stuff in your body to sustain you. That's why parents say, if you was hungry, go to sleep for dinner. We ain't got no food. And you had to go in there and you went to sleep. You realize you went to sleep because your body was, you know, hey, it's going to have to start depending on its own stuff. But when your body, because your body it has to slow down stuff. It has to be able to operate. But when you start overloading your system and your digestive system, it's like, hey, we got to shut down some other stuff. There's a scientific thing that's going on in your body. So it's like, look, our digestive system is having to process way too much we want it to do. So we need energy. So we're going to shut down other parts. So therefore we can be able to do this, which is why 30 minutes later, you all passing out and dozing off. It's not how it's supposed to work. I ate that burger. I was so full of energy. Everybody else is all down. I'm like, shoot, I'm ready to go. Let's get it. I almost had me want to do burpees in there. And I hate burpees. And I didn't do them. Wasn't going to. But the whole idea came in my mind then at that moment. So, but anyway, choice is yours. Have some fun. Remember what Thanksgiving is about. It don't have nothing to do with whose turkey's dry, whether it's stuff in the dressing. It don't have nothing to do with green bean casserole and all that kind of stuff. All that is the extra stuff that enhances the experience that you're going on. Go experience. Have some fun. Get off your phone. Pay attention. You know, if you're going to use your phone, take pictures of everybody there. Make grandma get up and dance or something. Do something. You know, I know all you sisters and stuff going to be up here trying to wear all your boots like it's 4 degrees outside. At least here in Houston, you know, outside up north, yeah, go ahead and rock your boots, all that kind of stuff. But down here in the south, y'all know it's 74 degrees. Don't be up here trying to act like because it's 74 degrees that you need to be rocking boots because it's Thanksgiving. You need to put on boots and a scarf and a hat and a little shawl and all this. Dress the weather. But anyway, get out here and go have some fun. You know, make everybody get up, put some music on, do some different things, and just have a good time and enjoy the experience of Thanksgiving. and not just see who got food. Now, enough of that. I want to get into one of my big topics for today. All right, and I'm not gonna be with y'all long today because got a whole bunch of stuff going on. I got some surprises from you. The podcast gonna get a lot better. Got some other things coming on. But anyways, we talked about the this or that. I touched on a little bit last week about Al Franken versus Roy Moore, a person who's kind of a creep versus one who's a pedophile. And I'm not gonna rehash and go over all that. But if you don't know the difference between a man who can't go to the YMCA and a man who can't go to the mall anymore versus somebody who was doing stuff he used to do in high school, not saying it's correct or right, but stuff that high schoolers do as a grown man, then there's something wrong with you. I think you need to be honest and just say, hey, you be looking at little girls. You have one of Mary Kate Ashley Olsen countdown clocks or something like that until they turn 18. Maybe there's something wrong with you that you could justify a grown man going after 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds. Now, I'm not talking about if you're 16 and she's 14 and y'all both in high school and y'all both are like one grade apart and you didn't know, but her birthday is next week, so she turns 15, so y'all really only a year apart. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you red shirting, your chick. But But I'm not going to rehash what we talked about last week. Y'all should know, all right, as far as the difference between a pedophile or somebody who's a serial sexual assaulter, like R. Kelly, all right, serial sexual assaulter of young women, all right, because they don't have a choice, or even however you feel about, I can separate the two, but however you feel about Bill Cosby. Is there a difference between Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein? No. If Bill Cosby was drugging them chicks, he deserves everything that comes with it. All right? Now, there's always this fight between why did the women go to Harvey Weinstein or Bill O'Reilly or whatever else? Why didn't they talk? Why didn't they do this? Why are they all coming out now? All these excuses that we can give. And if you pay attention, all these excuses that you give now is the reason why women and men did not come out beforehand. This is the reason why. Because you don't believe them now, and they'll have 9 cases against them. And because of our love of a particular person, like me, I love Bill Cosby. I used to always say, my mother was Whoopi Goldberg and my dad was Bill Cosby. Not because of how they looked or anything like that, but because my mom was hilarious. My mom was always brash and rough and kind of, she was... When you watched Whoopi Goldberg in that unapologetically herself, no matter what, they had that same kind of thing with them. I still to this day love Whoopi Goldberg solely because of how I've always associated the two. It just is just something about the way that she did not care. She knows she was not traditional in no sense, and it did not matter. I loved that. And that's also how I saw my mom. And I saw my dad as like Bill Cosby, where they were the stoic, they were the, they were funny. I'm talking about low-key, just hilarious. But it wasn't the overtly, it wasn't crass. I had hardly ever heard my dad curse. I had hardly ever heard, my dad was always doing it the right way. It's always got to be done this way. And it was always, he was also kind of, stuck in the day, like, hey, I don't understand all this other stuff and this new stuff and stodgy, all of that kind of stuff. So I used to always look at those two and associate with them. So I have a deep love for Bill Cosby for what he did. I remember when he was in his very pro-black days and his empowerment. All that. I know about all of that. But I have to realize that just because a person can be all of that does not negate them from being a creep or a pedophile. He's not a pedophile. But from being a serial sexual assaulter or a rapist. It does not negate them. Half y'all got cousins and family members who you can't keep the kids around, who you can't do any of this stuff around. Y'all know you can't do that kind of stuff with them. But you still love them. They still your family. But you're not leaving them in your house because you know something going to come up missing. So we tend to want to act like celebrities because we enjoy them or because we tie them to some kind of an emotion that we can't see any of the wrong. It's like when we talk about mothers with mom goggles. Their kid can do no wrong. No, your kid is bad. And I'm not talking about bad as in what all kids do and mischievous and want to get into stuff and run off and don't know how to sit still. I'm talking about bad. I'm talking about taking a lighter to the cat bad. All right? That's what I'm talking about. Grabbing a dog by the tail even though he knows that it's wrong. I'm talking about puncturing holes and drawing on the walls knowing that that's wrong. Throwing pissy fits and temper tantrums knowing all that's wrong. That's what I'm talking about. You know your child is bad and in school fighting and acting a fool and teachers can't. You know that. But you don't want to. But your son can do no wrong. Your daughter can do no wrong. And it's usually like that. It's usually fathers and their daughters and mothers and their sons that can do no wrong. But we have to learn to separate the two. We can separate the emotion from the action. In other words, the artist from the art. Bill Cosby, his brilliance on screen, whether it's a silver screen or TV screen, does not get, or on the stage, does not get taken away. But him as a person, you did all that stuff, gotta go. It's the same thing with Brett Ratner and all the rest of these coming out. But this leads me to a person by the name of Wes Goodman. I don't know if y'all know about who Wes Goodman is. If you don't know who Wes Goodman is, I'm gonna kind of give you a little bit of history on Wes Goodman. All right, and Wes Goodman from was a first-term Republican state rep, Wesley Goodman. All right, he was a married, faith-focused, anti-LGBTQ politician. He even made laws. He did everything against LGBTQ. Gotta make sure you get them letters right. That's another story. Against gay people. He was a staunch in opposition of all of that. Turns out then he gets caught in his office, which y'all know where I'm going. He gets caught in his office having sex with a gay dude. And we talk about the hypocrisy of stuff. State representative, Republican, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Well, I like to leave all that kind of stuff. I hate these labels that we put people in where it's Republican, Democrat, or left or right, conservative, liberal. They're all the same thing. All right? They are. Just because you associate with one does not mean yours is better than the other. Because they all just change the way that they want to oppress whoever it is. They all change their talking points so they can stay in power. But anyway, that's another story. Back to this guy here. This guy, Wes, and I'm going to keep saying his name. I want you guys to see him. Go online. Go tweet him. Go at him. He wants privacy now. But he did not care about the privacy of no one else in their lives. Now, whether you agree or disagree with gay sex has nothing to do with you unless you participate in gay sex. All right? You don't have to agree. All right? I am a Christian man. All right? Therefore, I believe that there should be no sex before marriage. Did I abide by those rules? No, I did not. So I am a hypocrite when it comes to that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean that I cannot tell you what is right or what is wrong because I have been a hypocrite. It's just like when I learned at a young age about what crack was, and I started seeing people who were on crack, and they told me, hey, yes, I know I smoke crack, but you don't want to do this. I had a choice to learn. They didn't have to tell me. And I didn't have to say, well, who are you as a crackhead to tell me not to do crack? You're a crackhead. You can't tell me not to do. Let me go figure out if I'm up. No. All right, we're above all that. We are adults. We are humans. We need to get over all of that. But anyway, back to this Wesley, Republican state rep, Wesley Goodman, but had a role of persecuting gay people through policy and was caught having gay sex. And this is not the first time, won't be the last time. And there's a couple things that I have about this here because, like I said, this episode is about this or that. You got to pick and choose, all right? You got to pick a side. Can't be walking on both sides. I personally have no issues with what a person does in their bedroom because I'm not in their bedroom. Don't care. Now, when you bring your bedroom to the next person's house and start no matter which way it goes, I can be pro gay folks and be anti out in the open sexual acts in public because you have the right to. I can be against that the same way that we make the instances when you see a guy and a girl holding hands and kissing, get a room. In other words, take that stuff elsewhere. We're all equal. We're all the same. That means you're not above getting castigated for doing some of the stupid stuff you do, gay people. All right? And all my gay folk friends and everybody else who's going to be talking about, hey, you ain't above. All right? But anyway, this man is the epitome of the hypocrisy of our government. He created policy. He participated in creating policy to prevent what people do in their bedroom. While he was purposefully, because he wasn't raped, he wasn't drugged, he was purposefully, actively participating in the exact same things. Now let's think about that for a second. So let's unpack that. All right. So, I forgot to say one other thing. He's married. He's a married man. This Republican state rep, Wesley Goodman. Dang it, I keep saying I'm going to stop saying Republican. All right, sorry about that. Scratch that. Y'all didn't hear that. This man, state rep Wesley Goodman, married, faith-focused, anti-LGBTQ politician caught having sex with man in his office. So not only was he creating policy, and let's stop right there. Let's start with the policy. We can do all of the protesting, we can do all of the marches, we can do all of the boycotts, we can do everything we want, but until we start to get policy enacted, nothing, that's all done for nothing. All we are is a social inconvenience. And that goes for all people. When Occupy Wall Street was in out there getting pepper sprayed and everything else was happening, they had to have a policy. All right? As much as people hated the Tea Party, they were smart in a few ways. You know what the Tea Party did? They ran for office. So when I remember when it was the immigration thing, I think it was, 2011, somewhere up in there, and they wanted to deport in 2012. And all of my Hispanic friends were out there protesting and stuff. I was right along with it, especially when a lot of them started running. That means they want to make policy changes. And they got some policy changes. All right, that's what we have to do. We have to make policy change because policy is what affects the land, not your hashtag. Your hashtag does nothing. Yes, it brings awareness. It gets people to thinking, what is this Me Too? Or, what is this back to back? What is this? It makes people who may not have had the opportunity to notice what that was, they get to see it. And they start to question and they're like, oh, okay, now I see what this is. Now what? And this is where we have the issue. The now what, we're so eager for the anger and the emotion and the tearing up your Keurig coffee maker or to do this or to do that or I'm boycotting this and I'm boycotting that and you can't do this here and we're protesting outside of this. All right, and then what? What policy are you doing? All right? Because in that case, you just, what most of you become are the people who, your friend, who has all the good ideas, but never executes a single one of them. They got every business idea. I'm telling you, man, we got to do this right here. Man, I make the best grilled cheese sandwiches. Man, you should go into business. You know what? I've been thinking about that. And I'm telling you, hey, man, look at how these people do this wrong. Go to another restaurant. Man, look how these people do this wrong. Go to another restaurant. Years pass. They still ain't done nothing. They talking, they posting, they doing all this stuff. They have done nothing to change it at all. After a while, you're just like, oh, here you come talking about these damn grilled cheese sandwiches again. But at some point, you got to do something. And policy is where we go. All right? Policy changes. All right? You want to see change in the NFL? You know why people want to see change in the NFL? Regardless to what you decide, because you have to purposely believe that the protest is about the American flag as a cloth being disrespected and not the American flag representing the people of America and the country of America standing up for a particular value and saying, I want to disregard that to say something else. But anyway, you have to believe that that a change should be made first, and then you have to believe that the change that should be made can be made, which is the application of what you want, and then you have to go demand that change be made. Hey, owners, when you have no problems coming to the constituents when you need tax money, guess who pays tax money? Because they're not paying the tax money. That's us. So let's get this right. I have to pay to go see a game. I have to pay for all, absorbent prices where a thing of popcorn is now $9, a hot dog is $8. I can go buy a whole pack of hot dogs. All right. I can buy a 24 pack at Costco for $7, but I have to buy one crappy hot dog there for $10. All right. So I do all of this. All right. And you want me to pay for your stadium by using my tax funds that could go somewhere else. But yet you don't know how you can do anything politically to help make change. All right. For whatever it is that your contracted employees are saying. This is why this becomes a problem. So a protest and a boycott and all this other kind of stuff means nothing if we don't have policy behind it. And like I said again with this Wesley Goodman, state rep, he's resigning now. He made policy. He made faith-based, which he put a bad name on faith because obviously he has no understanding what it means to be a Christian or anything else like that. But he put faith-based initiatives that he used to rile up the people. And he made that so he can get elected. And he put on this, the clean image, clean shaven and nice smile and all that good old boy. He put all that on so he could get in there. All the while, he was screwing the man in the back. All right? Or whatever happened. I'm sorry. I'm just speculating. All I know is it said he was caught having gay sex in his own office. So whether he was getting, fellatio or he was giving it or whatever, he was doing it. So what we have here is this man made policy. This man implemented. So even though now he's gone, guess what stays? Guess what remains? What's happening, man? Well, guess what happens and what remains? Those policies he created. Those laws. We talk all the time about all of these laws and everything else. But when people bring up the amendments, you know what amendment means? It was a change. It was an addition to. All right. So let's be real when we start talking about all of these different things. When we start talking about what it is we're going to do. When Rosa Parks sat, when they dumped the tea at the Boston Tea Party happened, all this other kind of stuff. When all of these things happened, there was a policy change enacted afterwards for a reason. Because if we don't have policy change, we don't have a solution. And that's what we're missing. You gotta have a solution. There has to be a policy attached to it. This guy put policy behind it. So even though he's gone now, he's still there. All right? And that's a problem. That's the problem that I think a lot of us are short-sighted. Your hashtag is not a solution. Policy, run for office. Now I want to know who's going to take this person's seat. All right, so let's back this up a little bit. So we unpacked the whole part about the policy. All right, and then we're talking about excuse me. So not only policy, he was a married man. I wonder how his wife feels. But then again, we don't know. They might have an arrangement. She might know. That might be part of their thing. We don't know. What difference does it make? We shouldn't know. It doesn't matter. We don't know what that man was doing in his office. We don't know. We don't care. All right? But he made policies to care about what's going on in somebody else's room. I don't give a damn what such and such does. All right? And neither should any of us when it comes to that. We're supposed to be making public policy, things that affects the general public as a whole. All right? So next thing ever, he was married. How does that affect his life? So he's a Christian or whatever his faith is. So how many ways did he break vows of Christianity in that there? So the Bible speaks about non-productive sex, all right, and homosexuality, and men laying with men, women laying with women, women acting as men, and all this other kind of stuff. All that's there. We're not debating all of that. We're not debating, not talking about all that, because that's not the point of this here. Because God also said in that same instance, you love everybody and he'll separate. All right? And we've all fallen short of the glory of God. We all have sinned. All of these things are still there. You don't get to pick and choose. And please, I'm going to go off on my tangents, my close tangents. Look, as a side note, please, 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 for the love of God and all things great, if you do not stop trying to bring up what Leviticus said, if you don't know what Leviticus means. If you don't know who certain stuff was written for, if you don't know what happened in a certain time, and I'm going to bring this up when it comes to with slavery, all right, and policy change and all this other kind of stuff. When we were freed, all right, they just said you were free. Oh, policies on the books, you're free. People have been enslaved mentally and physically for hundreds of years. Do you think that the ideals that they had to abide by, or that the rules that they needed, were the same in 1866 as they were in 1966 versus when they were in 2006? Don't you think they changed? Don't you think that you have to be a little bit more strict in the beginning because you're coming out of bondage? It's just like when a person comes out of jail. All right? I'm not talking, all right, let me be clear. When a person come out of prison, penitentiary, they're not just open the door and say, oh, here you go, here's your bag, bye. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. All right, most of the time they send you down, they step you into a halfway house. All right, or they do something to kind of get you to transition into it. So, all right, now you don't have to wake up at whatever, 5 o'clock in the morning anymore or whatever else. Now you don't have to eat your meals at this set time. Now you don't have to do all this stuff at this set time. But we gotta transition you into the next stage. So you still have some rules, but we're gonna relax some of them. That's just how life is, all right? So a lot of the stuff was for the Levites, which were for the preachers of the day, the leaders of that day. It wasn't even for the regular general public, because it was for the person who was in control. And that's the biggest lesson you should always know, is those who are in leadership are supposed to be held to a higher standard. They had a standard they had to lead to because they were the leaders of the rest of the people. All right. So therefore, when it came down to it, they were the ones who were supposed to know God, the leaders. All right. Because then you had wise, godly counsel, then you know that everything else worked fine. It was not the other way around. So when it was all of these rules were not for just the regular sheep herder. It was for the leader, because they were held to a higher standard. But anyway, I'm off of that. Let's get back to, this dude here, Wes Goodman. He was just bastardizing the name of God in his marriage and his faith-based initiative and his own platform. So he was an anti-LGBTQ politician performing in LGBTQ situations. So imagine how much more he could have done to help people. Because let's be real, there are more people who have no problems with gay people than people who have a problem with gay people. That's a known fact. That's how it's always been. It has never been a time where no one cared about gay people. All right? Let's not kid ourselves. As for gay people and for straight people, let's not lie to ourselves. Gay has been around since the beginning of time. It is not new, and it has always been there. And everybody knew it's always been there. Just because you weren't as exposed to it does not mean it wasn't there. I'm not exposed to certain illness, to certain diseases, but they're there. That doesn't negate them. I'm not exposed to certain activities and foods and cultures. That doesn't mean they're not there. So let's stop BSing ourselves and acting like all of a sudden, oh, this is a huge turnaround, and why is it no. And every generation says the same thing. Everyone, all this stuff is being accepted. It's the erosion of our values. Every generation says the same thing. You know why? Because whatever you liked and understood at 15 is what you expected to be there when you're 47. That's what the problem is. That's why whatever music you liked at 16, when you first start getting you a little some, that's the music you forever like. You think that's the greatest music ever. You know, I argue about rap is different and changed because there's no genres anymore. And plus you have more avenues for people, and people could not make a song in their home. So you weeded out all the crappy ones. All right. So now it's oversaturated. Now it's iTunes got 2 billion songs on it. Where guess what? If everybody still had to go to the studio and pay $40 an hour and go see like my boy Rob, you know, at DFO Studios, or you have to go to Barron Studio, you have to go somewhere else and spend your money and save all week. And you know, when you got in there, you have to pay the engineer. Guess what? You gonna make sure your stuff is right. But now, shoot, I can sit in here and put a mic up and just and run it through and put a track, and I put it on iTunes. $9 later, I'm done. No checks, no balances, no if it's good or not, no mixing and mastering. There are songs that, you know, that hadn't been mastered and hadn't been. I'm not saying that if it sounds good, and you can overcome all that. But I'm just saying that the bar is so low to getting in the entranceway that it has ruined a lot of stuff. So once we become oversaturated with something, we tend to lose interest. That's how everything works. And the choice is we have the choice at that moment to either tune in or tune out. And a lot of us tune out when we get to a certain age because it does not sound like what it was when we tuned in. That was our choice. So here you go. You have people who constantly go against and are showing hypocritical in their views. This man violated all of the views he had. All right? Because he knew that the place he was in was probably a faith-based area with low, you know, out and about LGBTQ, and it was conducive to him being elected and moving forward in his job. Same with Roy Moore, the pedophile down in Alabama, and all the people who are going with him. All right. The reason why is because I guarantee you, it's a whole bunch of 27-year-olds smashing 14-year-olds right now in Alabama. All right. So therefore, they're like, man, and they laughing about it. It's the same way that when a person is drunk driving, all right, and makes it, and they get pulled over, we do all this noise and talking about drunk driving, and then Friday or Saturday, what are we doing? Well, I don't drink, but what people are doing, they're getting behind the wheel, toe up, lit, talking about, man, how awesome it was. You have Uber now. You have all kinds of stuff you can do now, and they're out there doing it. So this man violated in every which way his marriage, his faith, the anti-LGBTQ community, and the LGBTQ community. Because you think now that he comes out and says, yeah, I've been having gay sex, that all of a sudden now that gay folks should just embrace him? No, what kind of ignorant stupidity is that? This man did not see it worth that all people were human and whatever a person does in their bedroom is their own ideals. He didn't see that. He did not see that at all. So State Rep Wesley Goodman had to resign, sudden resignation, because of the fact that this married Christian guy who created policy and against LGBTQ was a hypocrite. He is what's wrong with what's going on. One, he put policy in place. So to recap, and I'm moving on to recap. Our protests and our hashtags mean nothing if we don't ask for policy and demand policy and create policy. Just like I was saying with the NFL, they want those owners, the same way they can go get stadiums built, to go say, hey, guess what? On that letterhead from whatever else, go change the policy. All right? Change the policy. I don't need you just donating $100,000 to NFL sanctioned thing so you can get a tax write-off. No, I need you out here changing policy so kids and people of color and women and everybody else can have an equal opportunity. Because we don't want standards lowered. We want everybody elevated. That's what I think y'all are failing to realize. But anyway, this man was a hypocrite after he created the policy. He was a hypocrite and he lived a lie according to his marriage. He defiled everything about that. He had a wife and he was up here messing with a man in his office. He defiled the office He defiled his faith and the community, both sides as a whole. So in which way, one, does this not seem resemblance to what's happening in our nation when we start talking about things that we do? Because on paper, he's the perfect guy as far as for a cause. Smart, you know what I'm saying? Good smile, clean shaven, all that kind of stuff. He's all of that kind of stuff out there. He was all of that. And he pretty much crapped on all of them because he was a hypocrite. When if all he had to do from the beginning was be a human and say, guess what? These are the things I believe. I kind of don't agree with this here. All right, what do y'all think we should do? And create a real policy that was inclusive for all. That includes all people, including transgender. I don't care if you think, ugh, that's kind of gross. Ugh, I don't want to be around a transgender person. Well, don't be around one. That don't mean you're supposed to sit up here and negate or degrade them or make them less. Guess what? I like being around kids I know. I don't like being around kids I don't know. All right? I like to go buy little gifts and stuff and do things for them. All right, that sounds really bad. All right, you know what I'm saying. All right, I like to be able to go out there and show them and teach them because I see that innocence and where they want to see the world. And I love being able to say, hey, you don't know about this? And introducing them to things of the world. All right, I like that. I don't have children yet. All right, I already know I'm going to smother my children to death. All right, that's just the real. This is what's going to happen. All right, because I enjoyed that. All right, I enjoy seeing them get amazement at stuff like Christmas lights. All right, because for me, it's got to be so outlandish for me to really enjoy it because I ain't seen it all. But for them, just seeing a tree light up and come on, their eyes just light up. That's beautiful. That's the type of look. That amazement and wonder is beautiful. All that said and done, I don't want your kids around me if I don't know you. I don't go to places with a lot of kids. I ain't been to a rainforest cafe ever because it's full of kids. That's just how it goes. Just because I like kids I know does not mean I'd like to be around all of them. And I'm not trying to equate transgender people to children, but I'm just giving you an example of you can like something or understand something, but not be all inclusive. I mean, all in over here and hang with people. I got people I know who will kill you. I know some real, I'm not talking about these rap gangsters. I'm talking about real people who will kill you, who have short attitudes, who will shoot, who carry guns everywhere and are not licensed, but they will carry guns everywhere. They will do whatever it takes. They will kill you. I don't hang with them. We're still cool. We're still my friends. You know, have something going on somewhere, you know, a club or something like that. They're still good people. I don't hang around them. Again, not equating transgender or whatever else to gangsters and killers. What I'm saying to you is, as a person, you can be nuanced and be an adult and a human enough to say, hey, I don't understand all of this stuff. Like, I don't understand my boy who likes to carry guns everywhere and shoot at people. I don't understand it. And because I don't understand it, and because me and him are never going to see eye to eye on me saying, dude, you can't do that. And he like, dude, you don't know where I live and what I do. I got to do that. So since we don't see eye to eye, guess what? I'm going to still fight for his right to do everything that he wants to do, short of killing somebody. But I'm still going to fight for every little bit about it. And just because of this man, Wesley Goodman, may not have understood the plight of a gay person in America and a society that really don't care for him, does not mean he had the right to create policy against them. And then in the same breath, defile his marriage and his faith and his constituents, all because he wants to live a lie or get his rocks off someone. Well, one of the two. Sometimes we try to make it like he just might have been one of them kind of dudes just perverted who just won't sex with any and everything. It could have been an animal. It could have been a child. Hopefully it would never be that, but it could have been an old person or something like that. It could have been anything. It could have been a secretary. Would it have been any different? If you replaced the gay man the man he was having sex with, if you replaced it with a woman, still no different. He still defiled all of those different things. And that's where we need to start making choices. We cannot walk both sides. We have to pick a side. Either we're on the same side of equality for all or we're not. There is no middle. All right? You either believe or you do not believe. You either on or you are off. There is no lukewarm. We've all heard the analogy about the coffee. Hey, how do you like your coffee? Hot or cold? No one says I want it room temperature. All right? You want it hot or you want it cold. You're either for or you're against. And whatever it is, yes, people can change. People can get new information and grow and evolve. That's perfectly fine, and that's what we should be doing. But if we're not growing and evolving to where it's equality and equity for all, then what are we doing here? And the choice is yours. You have a choice to make. All right? You have a choice to make. And you need to choose. And to choose wisely is simple. Choose for the rights of all. All right? And when I say equality and equity for all, that does not mean that I want white people to step down, or I want these people men to step back and let women come. That's not what I mean. It means that a woman should be able to fail just as much as a man can and still get another opportunity. It means a black person should not have to be so super exceptional just to even be considered. A black man should not have to be the 1% in order to get in the door when the white male can be at 10%. All right? Let it be the same. That's what I'm talking about. Guess what? If, the person from Syria should be able to have the same event. Just because they're Syrian does not mean that they don't have the same accent, the same everything. That's what it means. It means, to me, equality and equity means everybody can fail evenly. All right? You don't have to be super exceptional to do anything. If that person is gay, they should be able to be as flawed and as wrong, and they don't have to be the cleanest person. Because, what's the stereotypes I was going to put? Well, if you get gay people, they're going to bring style. And I know some gay folks who can't dress to save their lives. They're horrible at dressing. All right? And they should be able to. They have the right, because I know some people who not gay who's horrible at dressing. All right? And that's where we need to be going. And that's where the choice comes in too. You need to make a choice and make a decision. Are you hot or are you cold? Are you on or are you off? And not left or right, because that's not a choice. That's just categorizing the same people. All right? All right, so we're against the other one. That's Bloods and Crips. I'm not asking you to be a gang member. So this is all about self and nuance and understanding. And I'm done with that. And let's get on up. I'm about to get off of here and let everybody get back to what they were doing. But there's a couple of things I want to chat about real quick. And today was a bad day, and the choice is yours. Like I say, this one here, this or that. Della Reese passed. For those, Touched by an Angel. My mom used to love that show. Oh, I used to hate that show because it was so boring. When you're young, you're watching Touched by an Angel, you're like, I want to watch Night Court or Martin, Fresh Prince, or Golden Girls or something. Married with Children is on. I don't want to watch Touched by an Angel. New York Undercover is on. I don't want to watch no Touched by an Angel. But I began to like it because, yes, mom was like, look, this what we watching. You ain't got no choice. She died today. Now, of course, my favorite Della Reese, for those who don't know, Harlem Nights. If you haven't seen Harlem Nights or you're not familiar with it, go watch it. It's on everything. Harlem Nights is my movie. Is it the greatest movie ever? No. It pales to Coming to America. It's not there and all that kind of stuff. But Harlem Nights, there's so much stuff that's still used today that comes from that movie. All right? But Harlem Nights and Della Reese, Vera. Oh, she was awesome in that. And when she beat up Eddie Murphy and all that kind of stuff, I'm quick. Just watch the movie. Let's pay her some tribute to that. I may post some stuff on my pages just by her. But someone else died too. So as I say R.I.P. to Della Reese, I say B.I.H. Burn in hell to Charles Manson. Because he died too. Alright? Good. It's about time. He's been on his deathbed for I don't know how many years. He was up for probation dang near every year. Parole, excuse me. He was always the issue, and Hollywood glamorized him. Yes, he did kill a Hollywood person, Sharon Tate and all that kind of stuff. But they still, rappers, all kinds of people made a choice to glamorize this man, because he stood for evil. He was evil. All right? He was evil personified. Racially evil. Systemically evil in every other kind of way. He was. And he won that evil crown by being able to manipulate people's minds into doing something. And he made them people do something. All right? And I'm not going to spend no more time talking about him. Like I say, hashtag BIH to him. BIH means burn in hell. Put BIH Charles Manson. But RIP, rest in heaven, rest in peace to Della Reese. And so if I'm going to be celebrating anybody today, it's going to be her. I'm tired of seeing all the Charles Manson stuff. Don't care about that man. All right? He didn't care about people. He didn't care about humanity. He didn't care about blacks. He didn't care about women. He didn't care about nothing. So, F him. And, you know, last thing, you know, I'm going to just say this real quick. LeVar Ball versus Donald Trump. Okay. Regardless of how you feel about Trump, good or bad, pro, against, for, against, or whatever else, doesn't matter. The United States played a part in getting those boys out. Did it play much of a part? Probably not. But it played a part. And if it played a part of $1 worth, then it played a part. Give that man his props. If all he needed, and one, it sucks that we have a president that needs to have, admiration dished at him when he's the president. When he's not even great understanding that everybody has to love him everywhere he goes. Every time they call him Mr. President, it's because they have to. You have to. They're not loving you. They love the position. So his position gives him all of the stuff already that he's wanting, but yet he's still seeking validation and admiration and everything else from other people. But LeVar Ball had, for the goodwill that he had built up, he is throwing it all away. Like I said, I used to tell people all the time, he is your loud, crazy uncle. All right? And he does some stuff that's good, and he does some stuff that's as stupid as can be, and now he's starting to be stupid. All right? Now he's impacting his son, Lonzo Ball. He's impacting everything around him. He needs to go sit down somewhere. And I'm all for a black man up here standing up and trying and creating his own and doing business and everything else. I am for that. I also am understanding enough to know that people are nuanced. And people are nuanced, and they're going to mess up, and they're going to do all kinds of other crazy stuff. And he's not exempt from it. But this dude is really, really, I don't know. To me, he seems like he is the black version of Trump when it comes to this Twitter thing. They are one and the same. They're both getting exactly what they want. Pub and press. And let's stop giving it to them. You got the choice. Don't give it to them. Don't give it to them. And lastly, for today, in a bit of good news, all right, because I always want to make sure we have good news. Dallas Cowboys got their behinds handed to them in my Texas won. That's all I got to say. All right, I will see y'all next time. Y'all like, share, and subscribe. Go do all the other stuff. UpcloseLife. Let's get my YouTube views up. This podcast will be up later on. Y'all go do all of the stuff and have a good time. And let's talk about if y'all like Justice League and what'd you think of it and all that other kind of stuff. UpcloseLife on everything.